Everyone, this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS creative card making video. For today's card, I will be using the puzzle pieces stamp set, which is 6x8 stamp set, along with the Christmas puzzle scenes, another 6x8 stamp set, and the puzzle masks. The mask stencil that I'll be using just for positioning of my pieces. We'll build an ornament using the puzzle pieces, so we're not going to use the entire puzzle, just a half circle and another half circle to create a circle ornament or ornament ball. So I'm using I have a piece of watercolor paper. I have cut the LDRS creative watercolor paper to A2 size, and I'm stamping the half circle that I position onto my stamp positioning tool using the mask stencil. So I was able to get it centered. Now based on that, I stamped the bottom part to create a full circle, and I picked out two of the half circle pieces that that match that piece, and I'm stamping. One is like branches and the other one is the holly. So I'm stamping on the bottom with the branches, and then the top part will be holly. Again, since I'm stamping on watercolor paper, I'm stamping the images multiple times to get nice coverage, and I'm using a stamping positioning tool to make that a little bit easier. Okay, so we have that stamped, and I will use clear embossing powder. Since it's watercolor paper and the ink, it's a little bit slower to dry, so I'm adding some clear embossing powder so that ink gets sealed, so what I'm watercoloring does not bleed. So I melted the embossing powder using my heat tool, and now I will move on to watercoloring. And I have some half pen watercolor paint here, and I'm just adding drops of water to activate the paint so I can color the image. I'm not doing any fancy coloring. I'm just using water brush with the water reservoir. I'm not even using like a cup of water and a regular brush, just to do quick coloring of the images. I have next to me a rug that I'm cleaning my brush, and I'm like trying to get the extra water off the brush. And then in between colors, I'm using my heat tool on the low setting to dry the painted portion, so I can move to the next one instead of waiting for it to dry before moving to the next portion, and to speed up the process. Now I'm coloring the top part. Again, the background, I decided to go with light blue. The holly branches, not the branches, the leaves with green, and then we'll do the berries with bright red. I forgot to use my heat tool in between the layers here, between the colors, so I'm drying that portion, the blue paint, and now I'm going with the red. And I'm removing some paint off my watercolor brush off my rug to get nice gradient of color. Okay, so we're done here. I'll use my heat tool again to dry the paint on the berries. Now, to be an ornament, we need a string to hang that ornament from. So I'm using my T ruler and a Sharpie pen, fine Sharpie pen, to draw that string to go all the way to the top of my cardstock. So there is our ornament. Here you can see I had added a little bow to see how it looks, but it was pretty thin, so I was not really a fan of that bow, so I removed the bow. Now I'm stamping a sentiment from the Good Cheer Sentiments, and I'm using the Jingle All the Way that's a little bit curved, so I think that went really good with the ornament, with the circle ornament. Just positioning, making sure that it's nice and centered. And I'll use again black ink to stamp that sentiment. Again, I'm stamping a few times to make sure that I have a nice coverage. And then I'll again use the clear embossing powder to make sure while I'm handling that panel, I do not smear the ink before it dries. If you don't want to use embossing powder, you can set this panel aside and come back in an hour or two, depending on the climate where you're at, and then finish off your card. I did not have the patience to wait, so I decided to use my heat tool on the low setting to dry the ink and also to emboss the image. Now I'm trimming my panel down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I will use some foam tape to add it to an A2 panel, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 of red cardstock, and then I'll just adhere it to a white card base. I like using white card base with a panel of colored cardstock when I need a colored background, because on the white cardstock inside it's easier to write than on a colored cardstock. So now I just I'm pulling it out of one of my pre-made card bases. I'm adding some adhesive on the back on the panel and adding it to that card. And that's our card for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you're inspired to play with the puzzle pieces, stamp and the Christmas puzzle scenes, and come up with your own puzzle designs. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.